new pharmacy practice model. Our keynote speaker today, Dr. Kaplan, is an expert in introducing change, focusing on the culture of work environments in a way that motivates and inspires everyone to succeed. He has worked with hospital leadership teams, ER departments, medical staffs, and medical groups from across the country, providing them with implementation strategies and specialized systems that hardwire operational excellence. Dr. Kaplan received both his undergraduate and medical degrees from Harvard. In today's remarks, he will focus on transformational change and how we can change and implement and develop this future practice model. This model will help us be responsive to changes in healthcare reform and truly position us for practice for the future. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Kaplan.
That's how we're going to create the future of your healthcare model. So, how are you going to do that? Strategy number 4, what I call the 4 Fs. Find out what the issues are, focus on them, fix them, and then follow up. Ask your staff what's working, what's not working, are there tools and equipment you need, are there personnel you need, is everyone on board? And then create what we call a stoplight report. Now we flip stoplights. With a typical stoplight, red is at the top. With a stoplight report, and by the way, any of you who want more information, because I've only have 45 minutes to tell you about all this, I could probably spend 10 or 15 minutes on each of these. You know, my email, I'm happy to give you my email or come up and address me, but here's what a stoplight report is. Green is, here are your issues, staff and other departments, and here's what we've already solved them, we've already dealt with them. Yellow is, here are the things we're working on, and red is, we can't do now, and here's why. We can't get that new drug on board, we don't have the capital for it. Or whatever the issues are. Okay? So, simply find out what the issues are, fix them, focus, and follow up. Strategy number 5 is create the team. I want to give you 2 simple strategies or 3 simple strategies to create the team. Here's the first. If on a football team, what position do you play? And I'll ask you before the game what takes place. Do quarterbacks win games? And the answer is no, quarterbacks don't win games. So whether we take this lesson from sports or whether we take it from some very successful companies that do this, having a stand-up meeting at the beginning of your day where you talk about and you say, stand up in the middle of your department and you say, what's going on today? What's the state of the union in terms of staffing? What's the state of the union in terms of workload? What's going on in the hospital right now? What's expected? What's our focus going to be for the day? Any recent wins or compliments that you've gotten? And I like the concept of a medical minute, which is to have a pharmacist or to have a physician, if there's a physician available, have somebody say, here's 1 minute, interesting, something new I learned about a particular drug or particular illness, et cetera, et cetera. That's a concept. Now, there's something else you can do to create the team, and I call that the compliment to criticism ratio. I actually got this from a guy named Tom Connellan. And I'll ask you this, how many of you have ever had your superior or your boss say the following thing to you? I need to see you in my office right now. Anybody ever had that happen? Was your initial reaction, oh good, I must have done something well? How many of you have ever had your spouse say to you, we need to talk? And did you think, oh good, I must have done something great? Compliment to criticism ratio says to create a positive work environment, 3 compliments to 1 criticism, neutral 2 to 1, negative 1 to 1. And what do we experience most of the time at work? The only time you hear anything is when you've done something wrong. So, I'm going to tell you, say thank you more. Okay? Rounding, harvest who's doing a great job and tell them so. Praise in public, coach in private. Now I'll also tell you chocolate works. My 3rd clinical shift when I first came to work at my new hospital. MJ, one of the staff nurses, pats a great file cabinet in the corner. She says, Dr. K, this is our chocolate drawer. She opened it up. She said, come look inside. What do you see? I said, it's empty. She said, yes, exactly. That's why it's part of your orientation. And she closed it. So I'm even corny. Sometimes the other day, on Saturday, I brought in Milky Ways. I say, I brought in Milky Ways because you guys are out of this world. That's pretty lame, isn't it? But they liked it. They liked the chocolate, okay? And here's one other thing, is simplest recognition is to say thank you more. Okay? Well, I don't think we can say, if it's genuine, I don't think we can say thank you too much. We don't do it enough, both at work and at home. Here's read number 6, treat your colleague as your customer. Strategy number 6, and simple little approach. This is simply an approach. Because when we have a tendency to interact either with other departments Like the ER, we interact commonly with a pharmacy. We commonly interact with, here's what I want from you. And I simply say, instead of doing this with your hand, do this with your hand. Walk in and say, what can I do to help you have a great day in working with me today? Or what can we do to help you have a great day in working with us today? Can be on a personal level, can be on a departmental level. And I even put together a little form, and I can tell you this works. We just implemented this at University of Alabama, Birmingham, where we had two departments that were at utter odds with each other, and we did this exercise. Pick the department that you want to focus on and ask these two questions. Number one, if we considered this department to be one of our most important customers, what are 3 things that we do differently in order to better meet their needs, and what are the 3 things we'd want them to do for us? And then you sit down almost like a Senate House conference committee, and you sit down next to each other at a table and you say, so here's what we could do for you. Okay, and you hear from them, here's what they would do for you, and then you share the other side, and then you come to a collaborative understanding of how can we better meet each other's needs. And again, if there's one exercise that you take away in terms of showing your value to your hospital partners, to the colleagues and the team that you're part of at the hospital, here it is. Do this exercise with, whether it be administration or whether it be with nursing, just do this exercise and go to them and say, we'd like to have a meeting with you because we want to know what can we do to better meet your needs. And we did that in my department, and we had this up in our department, in my emergency department. What can I do for you? What the doctors would do for the nurses, the techs, the unit clerks, the registrars, and what we'd do for each other back. Clerks decided they didn't want me to answer the phone. I used to think the phone's ringing off the hook, I should pick it up. The clerk said, please don't do that, doctors, you mess us up. See, I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't asked. That's number 6. Finally, number 7, I want you to think bowling, and here's the concept to think bowling. Everybody here been bowling at some point in your life? So here's a question. When you go bowling, you're throwing the ball down the alley, what's the point? What are you trying to do? Knock all the pins down, right? If there were no pins down at the end of the alley, would you go bowling? And the answer is no. If somebody said to you, let's go bowling, but let's not keep score, would you have as much fun? And the answer is no. When you get up to throw the ball down the alley, if you don't hit the pocket, the next time you get up to throw the ball down the alley, aren't you saying, how can I throw it differently so I can knock more pins down? Now, why does that work? We have something that we're shooting for. We get immediate feedback. If we do well, we say yay. If we don't, we adjust our process. What do we do in healthcare? Throwing the ball down the alley, throwing the ball down the alley. We haven't set up any pins. We don't know what we're shooting for. And if somebody says, how come you're doing it the way that you're doing it? We say, we've always done it that way. And the moment we have a process about which we say that's the way we've always done it is the moment we have a process that's not going to change because there's nobody owning the process. So here's what I'm going to tell you we got to do. We got to set up some pins, aim and follow through, and keep score. Another way to think about that is determine what are your key metrics in the pharmacy, define your baseline, set goals, and then create action plans to get from where you are to where you want to be. Create your scorecard, whether it be on that under service, patient satisfaction, HCAHPS communication about medication, provider satisfaction on your ancillary services survey, whether it be response time for stat medications, medication errors, adverse drug events. Set targets, set your goals, and create action plans to get from where you want to be. And then post the key metrics up in your unit so that everybody knows what they are and keep them updated. 7 simple strategies. Now, don't go start trying to implement them all at one time, but pick 1 or 2 and then go for it and go with the passion. You know why? Because here's how we're going to get to where we need to be. I do like Tom Peters' work. Passion, enthusiasm, appetite for life, engagement, commitment, great causes, and determination to make a damn difference, shared adventures, bizarre failures, growth, and an insatiable appetite for change. That's really what your PPMI is all about. I want to leave you with one final image. Nobody said it was going to be easy. Okay. There's no question in the current healthcare environment there will be many barriers in our way. But Shakespeare was a pretty bright guy as well, and he said, genius, that power which dazzles mortal eyes, is oft but perseverance in disguise. It's the best interest of our patient, best interest of our staff. If we're relentless about it, we can give them great care, we can create a great environment, and you as pharmacists will help lead the future practice of medicine and the future practice of healthcare in your hospitals. Last thing I want to say is this. I honor you. I don't like to travel very much, believe it or not, but I do. I practice clinically about 5 shifts a month. I'm on the road sometimes 2 to 3 days a week. Why? Because you're important to me. Because there are many fields you could have gone into where you wouldn't have worked as hard, felt as stressed, and you probably would have been paid more money, and you chose healthcare. And I know that's also true for you pharmacists in hospitals, because a lot of you can go outside of hospitals and you could do better. But I honor you. You are my comrades, and if there's anything I can do so that at the end of the day you'll have a greater experience of what your workday is, that's why I do what I do. So I want you to think one image in the back of your mind. I want you to think for yourself and for the people that you work with and for your patients. Think that as they walk out of your hospital, they do that. Thank you very much. Have a great rest of your conference.
Thank you very, very much. I'm glad I got to hear your remarks in the back. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.